Hi there, Leo. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for September. And an exciting month it can be too. There's two eclipses, on the 13th a solar and on the 28th a lunar eclipse. But for you, the emphasis as this month begins is very much on the practical area of your everyday finances. And if you are thinking about making a big ticket purchase this month, there could be a sense you really want to go for it because Jupiter, the planet of plenty but also the planet of expansion, has now joined this sector too. But it and the Sun in the first 4 days of this month, but in the case of Jupiter pretty well all this month, are going to be in opposition with Neptune. And unless you're really clear about any big financial decisions you make this month, you could be left with a severe case of buyer's remorse. So whether it comes to buying something that's more material or just thinking about shared resources, any kind of discussions around business, I think it is going to be sensible to just be conscious that Neptune can distort reality to a huge degree, and it's going to be very active this month. But the other planet that's going to be influential is Uranus, but this in an entirely positive way for you. Because what it's doing is electrifying the heavens, and in the first 2 weeks of this month, forging a brilliant angle with Mars, which is in your sign. This suggests that there could be a part of you that's much more risk-taking in the first 2 weeks of this month than you felt for a very long time. You can, because you're a fixed sign, like to stick to the things that you know best and can sometimes be a little bit risk averse. But I think if there's something you want to try, whether it's an outward bound activity such as whitewater rafting, abseiling for your local hospice down the side of a big building, or you want to do something that's more intellectually challenging or travel somewhere that would be more demanding, it really wouldn't be a surprise. These influences can push you out of your comfort zone, but also make life a lot more thrilling in the process. If, however, you would like to keep things a little bit more serene, there's plenty for you here as well. The solar eclipse, which I mentioned before, occurs in your second solar house, and that's really about the foundations of your life. So if you're doing anything to do with enjoying good food or good wine in warm, comforting surroundings with good company, that wouldn't be a surprise, and it's not limited to just this month. It can go on for the next 6 months too. And Venus, the planet of love, which is also in your sign, has been tracking backwards pretty well since just before the end of July. But now it starts to go forwards on the 6th of September. And this can also give your sex appeal an extra spark of charisma. And I do feel there's going to be opportunities to connect with people this month, and especially in the middle 2 weeks of September, when Venus forges a particularly fantastic link to Mercury, which is in the part of your scope that's very much to do with the way you communicate. And I think you could come across very well. There is a little bit of a caveat, because Mercury does start to go into a retrograde from the 17th, which goes on to the end of the month. And anything to do with travel, learning, or a mode of transport, well, just be really alert, because something could just get mixed up or confused or prove to be unreliable in a way which wouldn't normally be the case. Saturn also returns to Sagittarius, your sister fire sign, where he briefly occupied from just before Christmas last year through to the middle of June. Well, he's going to be in this location for the next 2 years. And for you, he lays down the gauntlet to you and asks you to really roll up your sleeves and add hard work and perspiration to any talent, flair and creativity you may have. Saturn in this area can put the brakes on around your love life, it's true, but equally it could bring someone into your world over the next 2 years who really wants to be a long-term player in your life. And that's the kind of gravitas that you would really respect and want to be involved with. Now the Sun is going to be moving on the 23rd into the sign of Libra, which will support the backtracking Mercury when it comes to everyday communications. But Mars does move out of your sign on the 25th into Virgo, and your desire to take ideas and crystallize them into something more concrete is really going to firm up in the following 6 weeks. The lunar eclipse, which occurs on the 28th, actually occurs in your sister fire sign of Aries. So how does this work? Well, basically lunar and solar eclipses work in pairs, solar pairs. So here we have the second house is influenced positively on the 13th, and then the lunar eclipse occurs in the 9th house on the 28th. What I would say to you, it all goes back down to your resources. There could be times this month and in the months ahead when you really just want to go for it, or even just be a lot less guarded about the type of things you eat and drink. But if that's the case, I do feel that any unthought through expansion or unthought through risk taking, which Mars and Uranus encourage you to do earlier this month, may have a downside. So you just really need to take your resources and your values, the things that you believe in and the foundations of your world. Take all those things seriously and don't get too carried away with the new energy and potential that Jupiter can bring. It can be broadly very good for you, but you do need to stay grounded. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.